Warning: the following content includes real court documents from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation and references to abuse. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This program relies on publicly available court documents and witness testimony. The inclusion of a name in legal filings or discussion does not imply guilt or criminal conduct. All individuals are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. Allegations are reported here for informational purposes only.
It is a story that has dominated headlines for years, a story of immense wealth, power, and horrific crimes. But beyond the public-facing spectacle of Jeffrey Epstein, there lies a more complex and, according to one survivor, a more calculated system of abuse. Today, we are not looking at the headlines. We are looking at a primary source, unpublished memoir chapters written by Virginia Giuffre. These pages, filed as part of a court record, provide a harrowing first-person account of her time inside Epstein's world. And for all those who are simply ready for the truth, this is your chance to like, subscribe, and share so you can always head over to the Unredacted Truth, where we fill in the gaps and help us continue to support the victims by telling their stories and giving them their voices back.
Hi, I'm Sonia, the girl with the answers to your most important Epstein questions. Back again to fill in the gaps left every week and every day when you know the pros to the reporting. Now, what you're about to get from me, and not the others, or anyone else for the matter of fact, is the truth. The facts as originally investigated, filed, submitted, and recorded. No reductions. That's right. The truth, the complete truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God, I am about to give it raw.
Nowhere, I look better with no hair, ain't no sign I can't smoke hair, yeah. Give me the chance and I'll go there. Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead. I let all that get to my head. I don't care, I paint the town red. Bitch, I said what I said.
We're going to be handling this topic very carefully today. Our goal is not to sensationalize or to linger on the spectacle of the abuse. Our goal is to understand the mechanism. How does a 15-year-old girl working at a Mar-a-Lago locker room get pulled into a world of international sex trafficking? What this text reveals is a clear process, a playbook. And at the center of that playbook, acting as its architect, enforcer, and chief recruiter, is a single name, Ghislaine Maxwell. We are going to analyze her role, as described in this memoir, to understand the system she allegedly built. Chapter 4 of the Billionaire's Playboy Club, Virginia, then 15, is dropped off by her father at a pink mansion on El Brillo Way in Palm Beach. She believes she is there for a trial to be a masseuse. She rings the bell and is greeted by Ghislaine Maxwell. Virginia describes her as having a warm smile, short black hair, and seeming very proper and elegant. Maxwell shakes her father's hand and, Virginia writes, kissed us both on the cheeks. This first interaction is the critical foundation. Maxwell immediately radiates legitimacy. She's not a shadowy figure in an alley. She's a proper and elegant woman who greets the father. She neutralizes the parent and establishes herself as a safe, maternal, professional figure. But watch how quickly she pivots. The text says Maxwell was in a hurry to end the conversation and say goodbye to my dad. This is step 1, isolation. The proper woman secures the target and then immediately removes the protector. Maxwell leads Virginia upstairs. The text notes photos of young girls and beautiful women, some only wearing their smile. They enter a massage room where a naked Jeffrey Epstein is lying face down. Virginia, though shocked, tries to remain cool as ice. Maxwell, she writes, prepped her. She wasn't told to do anything illicit. She was told to treat this as a lesson from her and follow her exact lead. If she did well, Maxwell promised, she could become Jeffrey's traveling masseuse, seeing the world and getting paid well for it. This is the core of the grooming. It's not a threat. It's the promise of a dream. Maxwell isn't just present. She is creating the framework. She's the teacher, the mentor, the gatekeeper to a life Virginia could only imagine. This builds a powerful, confusing sense of obligation. Virginia isn't a victim of an attack yet. She's a pupil in a lesson. The lesson begins. Virginia mimics Maxwell's motions, but soon the questions start. Both Epstein and Maxwell probe Virginia about her darker experiences. The text notes, "They didn't seem appalled at all by my statements, rather entertained if anything. They're identifying her vulnerabilities. They're confirming she's a suitable target. And once they have, the lesson turns. And this is the moment the memoir makes clear. According to this text, it is not Epstein who initiates the sexual assault, it is Maxwell." Virginia writes, "I tried to ignore it, waiting to follow the next directions off of Ghislaine, who surprisingly now stood behind me bare-breasted. Before I had a chance to even think, she began to slowly undress me." Let's be very clear about what this text alleges. Maxwell is the one who physically begins the assault. She then, in Virginia's words, acts as her madam, instructing her on what to do. She directs the entire encounter. She is not a passive bystander. She is the active director, participant, and enforcer. After it's over, Ghislaine is gone, leaving Virginia alone with Epstein. But she reappears downstairs, sitting at a desk, holding his black leather duffel bag. She is the one who delivers the feedback and the payment. She tells Virginia she has great potential and asks to see me again tomorrow. This is the full cycle. Maxwell is the friendly greeter. She's the professional mentor. She's the physical initiator of the assault. And finally, she's the HR manager, handling the payment and scheduling the next shift. She normalizes the horrific by wrapping it in the language of a job. The abuse becomes routine, and the routine, according to the memoir, is always managed by Maxwell. The next day, Virginia writes, "Ghislaine started to undress me from behind while Epstein watched. Virginia's analysis is chilling. She loved having the control over me, telling me what to do." This memoir establishes a clear hierarchy. Epstein is the center of desire, but Maxwell is the one managing the operation. She's the floor boss. The text describes a moment in the steam room where Maxwell demands her own massage. Virginia writes, "This was Maxwell showing me that Jeffrey wasn't the only one I had to pay my homage to. It's a power play, solidifying her own dominance in the system." Maxwell's control soon extended beyond the walls of the mansion. When Virginia is late, Maxwell allegedly scolded her. "We need to know where you are at all times," she said. "You are on call for Jeffrey." This is classic abuser tactics. A cell phone, a symbol of freedom and connection for a teenager, is turned into a tool of surveillance. Maxwell provides the phone, framing a leash as a gift. The text says, "So we can always find you. It's not about safety. It's about possession." This control was psychological. One day, Maxwell and her assistant, Emmy, invite Virginia for a cigarette, like friends. But this, Virginia writes, was just an icebreaker before being sent back to Epstein. Another day, Maxwell has a cold, intense look in her eye, reminding Virginia that her trial depended on her performance. It's a textbook manipulation tactic, hot and cold. One moment, she's your friend, your peer. The next, she's the cold, demanding boss. This emotional whiplash is disorienting. It keeps the victim off balance, constantly seeking approval and terrified of failure. The abuse, the memoir reveals, was not the end point. It was the training. Virginia was being groomed for a new role, recruiter. In New York, Epstein proposes she can make double the money if she will look for pretty girls and convince them to come back. When she asks how, he lays out a script. "Tell them you work for a multi-billionaire with his contacts. Your boss could help them." That script is the exact same one Maxwell used on her. The system is designed to replicate. The victim is coerced into becoming a perpetrator, which creates a deep sense of shame and complicity, making it even harder to leave. Virginia has this chilling realization. Just like Ghislaine had trained me, it was now my job to reiterate that onto other girls. But the most harrowing example of Maxwell's alleged role as recruiter comes from a story Epstein told Virginia about another girl, Nadia. He bragged about how Ghislaine had found her years earlier at a music school when she was just 13. Quoting the memoir, "When Ghislaine approached Nadia for the first time, she seemed like a maternal, caring stepmother, telling Nadia's mother if she let Nadia go with her, she would see to it personally that Nadia received the best education and chances in life to make it. This is the playbook," repeated. "Find a vulnerable girl, target the parent, present yourself as a benevolent, maternal figure offering education or a career. It's a calculated, predatory, and repeatable process." the memoir paints Maxwell not as someone who just found girls, but as someone who hunted them, using empathy and ambition as her weapons. Virginia herself wondered why. Why would Maxwell, his partner, facilitate this? Why would she participate? In the memoir, she writes that she finally just asked her, quoting the text, "I once asked Ghislaine why she did what she did for him instead of having a common monogamous relationship and getting jealous like normal partners would. She replied simply, 'It takes the pressure off me having to do it. It takes the pressure off me.'" In one sentence, this memoir alleges Maxwell lays the entire dynamic bare. This wasn't a partnership of passion, it was a transaction. In Virginia's own analysis, Maxwell was the one who brings in the girls for his peculiar taste while he supplies the lavish lifestyle she was accustomed to. She wasn't just his partner, she was his procurement specialist. She was allegedly protecting her position, her comfort, and her wealth by sacrificing other girls and women. Reading this document, it is impossible to see Ghislaine Maxwell as a mere accomplice or a brainwashed girlfriend. The text positions her as a co-conspirator, the architect, the enforcer, and the master groomer. She was the proper and elegant face that built the bridge of trust, a bridge that allowed a 15-year-old girl to walk from her father's car into a lifetime of trauma. This isn't just a story about monsters. It's a story about a system. It's about how power, wealth, and the veneer of respectability are weaponized to isolate, manipulate, and silence. The public focus on graphic details, which we have intentionally avoided, often obscures this. It makes the abuse seem chaotic, like a crime of passion. But what Virginia Roberts describes in these pages is not chaos. It is a cold, calculated, and repeatable process, a business model. And at the center of that model, as its chief operating officer, according to this account, was Ghislaine Maxwell. Reclaiming this narrative means refusing to get lost in the horrifying details and instead focusing on the cold, calculated method. The true crime here, beyond the acts themselves, was the systematic dismantling of a young person's will. By understanding how this happened, the grooming, the isolation, the psychological control, we honor the survivors. We see them not just as victims, but as survivors of a sophisticated and deliberate operation. This story is a warning about how power and respectability can be used as weapons. It's a call to listen, to believe, and to protect. The dignity and voices of survivors are paramount. This story is not just history, it's a warning. If you or anyone you know is a victim of trafficking or abuse, or anyone you know is struggling with the effects of abuse or trafficking, please know that you are not alone and that there are resources that can help. I will leave links in the description below. Please help me continue to do what is right instead of playing the political game. Let the truth out and give the victims their voices back. The easiest way to support this mission is simple: like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about these new revelations in the comments below, or if you have anything else you'd like me to cover. The first few chapters are already published and live on the Unredacted Truth podcast. Check out Virginia's playlist immediately, The Unredacted Testimony, and unveil the truth for yourself. Thank you for engaging with this difficult but necessary subject.